All right, hello again. This is Bob, and today we are going to be talking about The Legend of DRIZZT #1. But first, I want to give a little backstory here. Um, Years ago, back when I was around 15 years old, I started collecting comics, and this is the comic that got me started. When I saw this and took it home and read it, I fell in love immediately. I wanted to become a comic book artist, and this is when I started heavily collecting. Okay, um, years later, I would suffer a house fire that took all of those comics away from me. So it was a long time before I started collecting again, and I started collecting again when the new 52 came out. I thought to myself, okay, this is going to be new stuff starting at #1. I can jump in. I don't need to know anything because it'll all be explained to me. I'm not going to feel like, some newbie jumping into a story or something like that. And boy, was I wrong, because this is The Legend of DRIZZT #1. And I got to tell you, this is quite possibly one of the worst comics I have ever read. And that is saying something. This was actually written by R.A. Salvatore, and he's the guy who is responsible for writing the DRIZZT novels and such. And I have to admit, I never read those novels. My friends were big on that. I was more into Dragonlance. But when I saw this, I was like, okay, this is a Dungeons and Dragons comic. I am 100% invested. Let's get this and find out what's going on. So again, this is #1, and this was the first book I read out of the bunch that I grabbed. I raced home, I opened this up to read it, and I was done in about 2 minutes. Quite literally, nothing happens in this book, and it was all just, I'm telling you right now, I'm just amazed at how little information was given about characters, story, places, anything. Okay. So right here, we're seeing this throne room, and what I assume is just a pile of rubble, maybe? I don't know. But we back away to a splash page that is just one of the worst splash pages I feel I have ever seen. What is this? We see the back of one person. We see this other character here who, looks kind of cool or whatever, but this was quite possibly the worst angle, the worst way to. There's nothing dynamic about this, and we're getting this whole page, this whole thing of real estate for this one little word bubble up here. Okay, but apparently they are talking about. Again, I don't know who these people are. I'm never told. But they're apparently discussing the death of a dwarf. One of them killed a dwarf, but apparently not really, because it looks like that dwarf is still alive, and there he is. I think here he's trying to pull his weapon out of stone, but I gotta be honest, I can't tell. A lot of this just bleeds together. Everything is the same color. Nothing stands out. It's very hard to establish anything here, but I think he tries to pull his weapon out of this stone and falls back, and then he discovers that that stone was maybe the pile that crushed his king. So I think he starts kind of, he's going through this kingdom, this castle, this dwarven palace under a mountain, I believe, and I guess remembering a battle that took place that, again, I was not told about. I have not read. I have not seen. I've not been a part of. They don't really tell me much information here at all. Again, for a #1 issue, as a new reader, we're going through and I'm seeing this, and none of this has any impact on me whatsoever. I am also going to state this. This colorist believes that everything should just be one color and bleed together. There's nothing that stands out here that tells me anything. You either get red or you get gray. That's it. I'm not getting anything else out of that. So I guess when he was trying to protect his king, he gets bitten, which I can only assume is a vampire, since those are usually the only things that bite in that manner. And yep, there you are. He's a dwarven vampire, and he's upset about it for about 30 seconds or so. He shrugs it off. It's just, I'm a vampire now. It's no big deal. It's not really going to change my life, I guess, until I try to go outside. And I mean, okay, we hear a little sound effect like hurt. Okay, maybe I don't need to go outside. I don't know. I've burned myself several times. And it looks like his whole hand here is blistering from, the sun's light. To me, I can only assume that feels like, your hand is on fire. And he kind of just shrugs it off as a, no, you know what? I'll just apparently wait the 3 minutes for the sun to go down, and then I can go outside with no problem. Which he does. He goes outside. I'm pretty sure that's still sunlight, but whatever. And he immediately comes upon an encampment of goblins. And, at this point, he's like, you know what? It's been 5 or 6 minutes. I've come to terms with being a vampire now. So I'm going to go put that to the test and start biting all these dirty goblins. Because that's like literally what he says, right? As far as whatever's happening here, I don't really know. This is insane. Like, what is this? That's goblins moving. There's blood coming. I don't know from where. This guy, it looks like he's barreling through, but like he's just tackling maybe. And he's very happy about it. I haven't seen him bite anybody, but he's got a mouthful of blood, so we'll just take it as that. And then, here are the dead goblins, I guess a little while later. It doesn't really tell you it's a little while later. We just, it's just there. It goes from this to this, and we have these two people. I have no idea who they are either. Come upon these dead goblins. And that is it. That is the end of the book. There is nothing else. It says to be continued. I never bought another issue. I was so annoyed and disappointed. I was like, wait a minute here. I spent, $3 or $4 on this comic, and it took me 2 minutes to read it. I got nothing out of it but annoyance. I was like, I will never purchase another thing like this again. Now, reading the interior cover here, it's stating that, this story takes place between two other stories. I feel like maybe that's a thing that should be on the cover. I should know this by looking at it before purchasing it, that I'm purchasing something that's happened between two other stories I did not read. So again, nothing came out of this that helped me at all. This was just a massive disappointment, and I have been wanting to talk about this book for a very long time because this was just some of the worst writing. The artwork is good, but not the storytelling of the artwork. Like, this is a very, good-looking picture here, but what is this? Like, it's like somebody drew a different picture and then did a close-up on it to say, hey, let's just make it a splash page for whatever reason. This is just one of the worst splash pages I've ever seen. Not bad artwork. Don't get me wrong. It's excellent artwork. The angle and the portrayal of all of this, like, there's nothing dynamic. There's no reason why this had to be a splash page. This is just a panel. This has more energy than this. This could have been your splash page. This is nothing. Okay? So I'm sorry. And then here's another thing of real estate here, just showing a dwarf climbing a rock maybe. That's it. There's nothing dynamic about this. This whole book, all of these pages, I went through this story in a matter of minutes here, explaining what's going on, but reading it, it just goes by faster. So I just wanted to talk about this because this is one of the things, when I told you guys in the first video that I usually read older comics because you get more of a story out of it. Sometimes you get a complete story. Sometimes you got to read 2 or 3 issues in order to get a complete story. But at this time, comics were like, they weren't even episodic. Like, if you had watched an episode of this as a show, you would have said, I'm not investing in the second episode. There's no reason for it. I was told nothing. I don't know what the story is. But I think that the funny thing here is that on the back of this, it says, next month, the quest begins. Wow, it would have been really good to have the quest begin in the first issue. That's why I bought this first issue. I wanted to be a part of the beginning of the quest, but I guess this was the prelude to the quest, and it kind of should have said that, or let me know. Instead, this was just, again, massive disappointment. So, Yep, just wanted to let you guys know and show you what I'm talking about when I say that, I was more of a fan personally of the older books, and this is kind of what you get today that makes it so that I just, I don't feel comfortable jumping into a new series because this is what I'm going to get. I'm going to get a very quick read with nothing in it. You have to buy 30 or 40 issues, and it's all still one story. So you're investing 3 or 4 years into a comic, and you're kind of really not getting anything out of it. All right, so please again do me a favor if you liked this video, like and subscribe. I am currently working on my comic Ghost Girl, which I will do a Kickstarter for within the next few months, and I'm trying to build up an audience that might like the type of stuff that I do and that I talk about. So again, like and subscribe. Thank you guys for watching. See you.